Chapter 3. Grayle. I just declared that I loved Caden, and I did. I'd been a fool to overlook what he had brought into my life, but I couldn't pull myself away from Austin. The more he'd been aloof and distant, it appeared, the more I was drawn to him. However, now there was a baby involved, and I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, as the saying went. How did I connect the dots and solve this puzzle that had been set before me? I had to talk to someone, but not with Caden in the house. I didn't want to be deceptive. I'd tried my best working at not being a deceptive, duplicitous man. My father never was, and I was my father's son. I wanted to be above board with my feelings, even if I'd kept them to myself, but I couldn't anymore. I wanted Caden, but I also wanted Austin's child. I couldn't let Austin and Stephanie give the child away when there was someone who wanted one. Caden, you should see to your business. You've wanted this and started it, but don't let it die because you want to spend time with me. Before I discovered that I'd been disingenuous about the man I loved, and I didn't like myself much. I wanted Caden, and yet I couldn't bring myself to let him go, when I knew that I had to face Austin. The lingering thoughts about Caden and how much younger he was than me had me paralyzed. The guilt and indecisions about Caden and Austin had me confused and upset. It took Caden to make me realize that Austin wasn't being to me what I'd been to him, and maybe that too was my fault, and I'd let this go on too long because Austin and my relationship, such as it were, was convenient. Buried in my thoughts, I didn't hear when Caden moved from my arms and was standing in front of me, dressed. I wanted to stay with you because you appeared to need me, Caden said. But how could I make up my mind about anything when his youthful body told me that he was all I needed? If this wasn't real life, then maybe all I needed was to fuck my problems away. That was good once, but not now. Not for a man circling in on 40. Will I see you tonight? Caden asked. I need some time to sort things out. And you need that time to get your business going. Your people will want to hear from their boss, especially about now. I know you're right. Will you be okay? He said, hesitant to leave me. I'm going to be just fine. I was fine with Caden in my bed, with him telling me how much he loved me and how supportive he'd been. But he had to leave, and I didn't know just how I was going to solve these problems with him here watching and asking questions. Caden leaned down and we kissed. I stood up and wrapped my arms around him, and it was a new relationship and a new love, and it was as deep and exciting as any I'd ever known, but I had to let him go. Pulling away, I said, "Don't you have some place to be around this time?" He exhaled and sucked his teeth. I want to stay with you. I don't want to leave you because I'm afraid, he whined. What are you afraid of? I tried to give him a small smile and assurance. Us not being together. You, Gray, falling back into that mindset where you think I'm too young to be with you. I'm a man. I'm old enough. If I'm old enough to join the army and fight, then I'm old enough to fall in love with a man forever. Don't say that. Go before you ruin what we have, he said. Caden, you can never ruin what we have. He turned and I swatted him on his ass, then he grabbed my hand and pulled me with him out of the bedroom. Walk me to the door. I want you to see me off. Pretend that's what you will be doing when I leave you in the mornings. We sauntered to the door, trading soft kisses with me naked. Caden opened it, and it just so happened my old neighbor was walking his dog. Caden turned to kiss me when the neighbor was passing. To my surprise, he smiled and waved. Now that was a first. He must have been on his meds today, because he appeared not to notice that I was kissing a man, and I was stark naked. Caden sauntered out, had a few words with the old man, petted his small dog, and climbed into his Jeep. I closed the door and picked up my phone, and informed my secretary that I'd be working from home today, and in the near future. I had to talk to someone before I had a meltdown, and the only person that I was close enough to that would give it to me straight was Cole. I hit his number and he answered, even though he was probably on his break and in his office by now. "Cole, are you busy?" "Of course I'm busy. I have to grade all these papers." "Do you think they grade themselves, and these freshmen want to see their grades, even if they spent 1 hour writing them before class?" "How do you know they only wrote them in a few minutes or hour?" "They have fresh ketchup stains all over them, and I found a few French fries stuck inside some of the papers." You could make a meal from the food plastered from those papers a few students turned in as hard copies on the day they were due. Overachievers they aren't. "I have a problem. Can you set aside your work for a few minutes?" I could set it aside forever if I didn't think these guys needed a dedicated teacher like myself. He chuckled, because he'd been trying to get another job from the day he set foot in that college. I'd asked Cole to go with me to New York after he'd graduated from college and get his master's there. Then he could get the type of job he'd wanted, which your guess was as good as mine, but he refused and stayed in Nevermore. It turned out fine for him. He'd met his life's partner in Nevermore, a mechanic named Keys, and Cole appeared to be happy with everything except grading students' written work. "I have a problem, and it concerns Austin. Every time you call me, it's about Austin. I don't have time for Austin's shit and you making excuses for him. You know very well that I was the one who asked for the commitment. He didn't have to agree, but then you can be persuasive if you want to be. You asked me to, remember? When you became tired of fucking around with nameless dicks and realized that it was time to settle down, I was the first one on your list. If I'd said yes, that would have been a disaster for the both of us. I don't know what you were thinking, and it seems that I was the only one thinking at the time, because I turned you down, and then I met Keys, and I've never been as happy as I am now, and you all alone in that city took the first hard cock swinging your way. You should have waited, Gray. It's not like that. I thought I wanted to settle down and have a family eventually. You know how I talked about that all the time. I thought I'd be a bachelor, but I realized that it wasn't for me. Being an only child settled that. Now I want a large family. With that heartless dick, I don't think so. I won't defend Austin, but he's not completely to blame. I haven't been honest with him, and he hasn't been with me. We've both been living a lie. And now there's a baby involved. Don't tell me it's his baby. Gray? Are you still there? I didn't know what to say except the truth, and I needed time to frame it, because I didn't want Cole to go on an endless cursing jag. You asked me not to tell you. Stop playing games and tell me what the fuck is going on. It's Austin's baby, and he never mentioned anything to me about it, and I never suspected that he was bisexual. I always thought there was something about him that I couldn't put my finger on. The few times we went out to dinner with me and Keys, he was laughing and whispering in the waitress's ear. A woman or man couldn't pass without him taking notice of their asses. You can't tell by something like that. I can, but you had to wait until someone told you. You never were keen on details, I bet, and Austin didn't have the balls to tell you himself. No. I admit he didn't. The woman did, and now I need a shower and something to eat. We can talk another time. And just like that, I hit the red button, and wondered what I'd tell Caden now that I'd upended his life. I decided that I had to see Caden in person. I'd try to talk to him, and maybe we could make sense of everything together. My first thought was to set all this business aside and take care of my personal life. Contact Austin, but I didn't know what I'd say to him, and how I'd keep busy with all this worrying my mind. When I had things bothering me, the best thing to do was to be around people and work. After work, I'd drive over to see my father. Seeing him made me feel better about life. I guessed my visits were more about me